Hi folks, Jeremy Tyler, Certified Financial Planner, coming to you today to take a closer look at the most recent jobs report data that we received last week. So when we receive jobs data, what you really want to do is take a deep dive and look and see just what types of jobs they are creating. We're going to look at the 303,000 jobs that were reported and see part-time, full-time, what categories they may be in. So I'm sure that you've seen the numbers on various media outlets claiming of how much job growth that we have had over the last year. Let's take a closer look and see what categories those fall in. So in this next slide, we're going to look at the total non-farm payroll jobs added and see what the trends are. So we've got a couple of charts here talking specifically about job growth over the last 12 months and the unemployment rate. You may not pay attention to this as much as I do, but the unemployment ticked down one notch. We were at 3.9%, it's back to 3.8, kind of a common area for us to be in. And the amount of jobs added came in at 303,000. Now, one thing I do want to point out as we go into further slides, you're going to see some discrepancies in the numbers, which also gives us reason to be kind of concerned about the data that's being reported. They keep going back and revising these numbers every month that they're reported. They're able to revise backwards, and it makes the numbers seem a little suspicious. So let's look specifically at the job gains for March. This chart sums it all up. We lost 6,000 full-time jobs. We added 691,000 part-time jobs. Keep in mind, part-time jobs are the kind of jobs that don't have 401k, don't have health insurance, don't pay people a livable wage. So this is not an expanding type of economy chart. This is a chart that tells you more than likely inflation is starting to slow the consumer down and they're having to get multiple jobs in an effort just to survive. Also, something very important to know is when looking at this slide, this is the fourth month in a row that there's been a loss of full-time employment. It's not just a one-time data blip. This seems to be a trend that we're picking up steam on. So we'll transition just into the exact numbers. Two different charts. The first one just is a zoomed out version of the full-time versus part-time jobs over the last year. But let's take a real close look at the charts and see what actually the total numbers are. In this chart here, you're going to notice that it's showing 132,946 full-time jobs in February of 24. These numbers, as you'll see denoted up above, are represented in thousands. So we're just subtracting the 946 from 940, that is the loss of the 6,000 full-time jobs for this last month. Now, when we go down to the part-time jobs, this is where you see the increase of 691,000, and there's other figures here below that show that we have multiple job workers increasing by 217,000. Again, this is not an attempt to try to paint a bad picture. The facts are the facts, and the numbers are here. Part-time jobs are increasing. That means that people are having a hard time keeping up with expenses. I'm recording this on Wednesday, and CPI data came out this morning, which shows inflation is continuing to rise and rise. These numbers show that people are broke. We're in a world of hurt and should be concerned for the economy. So the largest categories of jobs added were in healthcare and leisure and hospitality. Healthcare tends to be largely government subsidized, so one thing to point out there is, again, it's the feds taking on debt to paint the picture of adding jobs. Part-time jobs, though, again, not going to sustain the economy, and leisure and hospitality jobs tend to be very seasonal, so they added 49,000 jobs there compared to the 81,000 healthcare jobs. So in summary, the report for March shows a gain of 303,000 jobs, which at first glance seems great. However, we must consider that all the jobs that were gained over this period and the 3 months prior were only part-time employment. Of course, we know these are often low-paying, service-oriented type of jobs that don't lead to a robust, expansionary environment in the economy.